I have done a lottery simulation. Again, the lottery is next week. The combine is also next week. We're going to get some answers on all this stuff. But we wanted to do a pre-combine, pre-lottery mock draft just to kind of have it out there.
This is amazing.
The number one pick goes to the Toronto Raptors in the simulation. I did one simulation, and it was the Raptors. Shout out the Raptors. Shout out Raptors fans.
I'm not going to play any games here or be silly or whatever. Cooper Flagg is the number one pick for the Toronto Raptors. This would be really, really interesting. I think Toronto is a really interesting team in this draft anyway. I tried to do a little bit of preparation for this in terms of what do I think team needs are, especially for lottery teams and all of that. And the Raptors, I literally put, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they need. Do they need a point guard, or do they think that's going to be Scotty Barnes? Do they value more shooting? Do they need a backup center eventually for Jakob Poeltl to replace him? This makes it real easy for Toronto, right? You take Cooper Flagg. I feel like it's an interesting fit in terms of his talent because Cooper Flagg fits anywhere.
Number 2.
It's actually worked out okay for this team.
Yeah, goes to the Utah Jazz. The number 2 overall pick in this draft is Dylan Harper to me. 6'5", 6'6", somewhere in that ballpark. Averaged 19 points, 4 assists, 4.5 rebounds. Shot 48% from the field. Just absolutely is like a downhill force as a driver. Really can consistently get into the lane. I think that what stands out for me with Harper is he has a very polished game. Like, his footwork is unbelievable for a teenager to me.
I'm going to take Ace Bailey here. And if you would say any number of a few other names, I'm cool with it. He stayed number 3 for me. Love his height and length. Definitely he's going to have to add some strength. He has that ability to shoot over people. That's going to have to be the elite skill for him. The passing is interesting. I want to get your thought on that because people will immediately point to the negative assist to turnover ratio. But one of the games I watched, he made like 4 really good passing reads and not a single one became an assist because the people on the other end of it didn't make a shot. And it happened the entire second game I watched as well. So just something I'm not saying he's a great passer, Sam. I'm just saying it's something to keep in mind.
I think I am just going to go VJ Edgecombe here, but I'm going to think through it a little bit. I think that it would be fine being able to play him with Bub Carrington as kind of your backcourt player of the future, long-term, your duo. I think they blend off of one another well. I like Bub on the ball quite a bit. I think his ability to play in ball screens, get to pull up situations is really valuable. I think VJ will likely shoot it at some point, and we can kind of talk through that as we go forward. I think he is like pretty effective is a catch and shoot player.
So Konkanippel, just advantage exploiter and team defender. I think he's a tremendous fifth starter. Is there more upside is my question. And so that's what I would be interested to see. Strong build that lets him hold his line on both ends. Not a ton of vertical pop. It's real scary in regards to that. The shooting is the elite skill, the superpower. I think he understands off-ball relocation, keeps good spacing, has balance to be good off movement.
To me, this is just Trey Johnson.
Yep.
This is a simple pick. I got to see Trey Johnson work out a couple weeks ago. Was super impressive. Was so impressive to me as a just human being that came in with a level of seriousness and a desire to get better. There was just this level of intensity about him where he went through this workout 100% the whole way. Right. And I just you don't see that often when you go to these workouts where there's a total focus on everything. And I am just a huge fan. I'm
going to go Kasparis with the caveat, I'm a little bit nervous with him.
Yeah.
I wonder if he ends up just being a high level third guard for a team where he comes in, he can play a little bit on and off the ball. I love the physical build. The catch and shoot numbers actually weren't that bad from 3. I think he'll be able to do that a little bit. And then I think it was, both dribble jumpers were under 40%, but gets to the rim, impactful rebounder.
I'm going to take Carter Bryant here.
This is yes. Yep.
This is where we might be going slightly off the board, but it's not going to look off the board by the time the draft rolls around. Carter Bryant is a stud, guys. He is an absolute stud. I know that this year he averaged 6 points per game or whatever, but you go through and you watch the tape. This is a joke. Like, he is a monster on the defensive end.
I'll go Colin Murray Boyles. I soured on Colin Murray Boyles since our last mock draft, just a little bit. I am really interested to see what he measures at the combine. Just in terms of the length and the wingspan and all of that. Good defender, right? You're going to have to play through his chest, all of that stuff. He does a really good job. He's going to hold his line really, really well. I think he can move on the perimeter. That's going to give him switch versatility, not matchup versatility, but switch versatility. Off the ball deep, like playmaking, active hands, the length, all of that. Obviously on the offensive end, the shooting is going to be the swing skill. Can he do it? Can he not? I think he has a real knack and touch around the rim for his finishing, which I really like.
So this is the Atlanta Hawks on the board now, and they take Common Malawach to me.
Yep.
So the reason I think they would go Malawach over Queen is because I think that they would want the bigger body.
Yep.
Because they've been, dealing with Onyeka Okongwu for the last year, and like Onyeka is just a little too small at the end of the day. He just struggles to deal with guys who are big. Malawach is just massive. He is a huge, enormous human at 7'2", 250 pounds. Moves well on the perimeter. I have worries about like catching the ball for him if it's anything other than a lob. I do think he can catch lobs though.
I'll take Jeremiah Fears here.
This seems easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit worrisome because he's going to have to come in and play right away. But I mean, to me, he's one of the top players on my board. He's easily one of the best like primary initiators for me. I'm a touch lower on a couple of the other guys that other people may be higher on.
Derek Queen makes a ton of sense to me for the Chicago Bulls. Just an awesome like ass kicker basketball player who's been productive at every level he's ever been at. 16.5 points, 9 rebounds, unbelievable perimeter game and like feel as a driver at 6'10". I absolutely love the way that he can like use his footwork and deceleration game to have guys bounce off of him and allow him to like maintain his touch around the basket with his finishing ability. Just an incredibly fun basketball player.
Nick Clifford for me, for the Blazers. Okay. I'm a huge Nick Clifford fan. I just think he's a really versatile wing. I think this played out well for the Blazers in terms of moving back. We'll see what they end up at the other pick, whether it's 22 or whatever that is. Versatile wing archetype, advantage exploiter in all three ways. I don't think he's like an on-ball guy. Like if you go watch a Colorado State game, he did a lot of that. But the more I watch really in depth, the more I saw like he understands off-ball relocations and cutting and offensive rebounding. And he didn't get to show it as much, but I think he can do it.
We're just going to take Sorber. So Sorber, excellent in drop, great with his lines and angles, uses his length super well. I think he's going to end up with like a 7'4" wingspan when it comes in. Does a great job playing cat and mouse between the ball handler and the big for a freshman. Really quiet movement style, like doesn't have like jumpy motions, right? Like rarely gets hit with pump fakes. Very good at walling up to use his size to cut off drivers. Rim protection was good. Didn't foul much as well. Just very reactive defensively. Offensively, we'll see what it looks like.
I'll go Danny Wolfair.
Oh, this rocks. This fucking rips.
Yeah.
This is my pick too, for what it's worth for them.
Yeah. Versatile two-way front court player. You have to get on a team that'll be creative with the way they use them. Very creative player. I think, is he going to be a legit 7 foot, Sam?
I think my guess is probably 6'11".
Okay. Offensive
maybe like 6'10", 7'5" even. Like it's going to like 7 foot in shoes, but not without shoes.
Offensive versatility, would run pick and roll as a handler, then the roll man, pick and pop. I think he understands moving, cutting, spacing, those type of things. Below the rim finisher, the passing is like he throws some insane passes, just like ridiculous stuff,
outrageous
touch passes, anticipation, court mapping, eye manipulation, and then he throws some ridiculous ones in the most negative way possible. So listen, in the games you watch when he's making shots, it's like, this dude is real.
I am going to go Traore here. I do think that he is probably the best available player at this point. I just think he's a little bit more like diverse in how he attacks defenses than somebody like Jace Richardson. In like Clayton, if you want to make the case for Clayton, I'm not going to argue with you. I like Traore a little bit better on defense than I like Jace as well. So
I'm going to go Liam McNeely here with the Wolves. He's just like the guy left right now that's a little bit bigger of the wingy type players, at least, that I trust to shoot. I think he's taking a little bit of heat because of the role he ended up having to play in down the stretch, where like he was trying to like initiate offense and stuff. And I think that hurts his number. So like my big like uppercase, I think he's an advantage exploiter when he's playing in the role he should be in. And so in terms of his like knocking down shots, being a team defender, I'm a little bit worried about like the all around athleticism and stuff like that. But I think he's going to play hard. I think he's going to knock down shots. I think he's a good off the ball mover, understands off ball movement, relocations, offensive rebounding, some of those things. And so I will go with him here, like understanding that like maybe Essengay has higher upside and, you know, stuff like that. I buy Liam McNeely as a shooter.
I've seen like a push for Noah Essengay to be like very high. My question is like, when you watch him play, there are just so many possessions where he's just like not making an impact to me. Yes, he gets to the foul line. Yes, he like consistently will like find little cracks and creases and like he attacks the glass with ease. But like from a skill perspective, I don't really buy the jumper right now. I think that like he is just not a guy that projects to shoot immediately. There's some touch there that I think he can develop into. I'm
going to take Asa Newell here. This is fine for me in terms of the range. I think this would be an interesting landing spot for him. I am intrigued by some of the guards on the board still, like Seraph, Jace Richardson, Walter Clayton Jr., but I already took Kasparis. And so I think I'll go ahead and go Asa Newell. You can bring him along slowly because of what you have there. I think this is the right team for Asa Newell. Even if people maybe think it's a little bit high, this is actually fine for me with where I have him on the board. And so I like him here.
I have Clayton ahead of like Jace Richardson now on my board after having like done the deep dive. I just think he's like a more diverse offensive player in terms of how he gets into his shots, in terms of how he like finds open areas of the court. I think he is just generally a little bit better on defense right now, but not a lot better. But more than anything, I just think he's a monster shooter. Like one of the best shooters in this class, just point blank.
I'm going to take Rasheer Fleming here with this pick. A guy, like I said, I've been really high on. I've taken in the lottery before, but have dropped a little bit. So I think at 21, this is a good spot for Rasheer for me. And I just think he's a versatile forward.
I like the idea of taking like a big guard here because a lot of what they built is like size across the perimeter and across the like wings, with Kamara being super long and Shaden Sharp is super long. And, you know, obviously Denny is massive. And then Klingon, like they have this really interesting, like defensive archetype of player groupings. Jaeger's obviously not like a great defender right now, but then you have Scoot, obviously. Look, like I like the idea of them taking a player to give them some cover in case Scoot is not the guy.
I'll take Jan Beranger. Big, moves well, play finisher, rim protector, all of those things. I have, I don't think I'm of the mindset that Miles Turner does not leave this offseason. So like, I'm not projecting him to go in there and
still need another body.
Exactly. Like this isn't a, hey, you can come play starting center for the Indiana Pacers. This is a, hey, they don't have a backup center necessarily in this mold. And I think their play style could fit him very well. So I love it as you can be Miles Turner's backup for the next 3 or 4 years. And then we'll see how you develop. And then maybe you overtake that whenever he ends his next contract.
I've Cedric Howard like at the edge of my lottery personally.
Nice. Cool.
Like right around that ballpark. Played like 6 games this year, 18 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds, shot 55% from the field, 40% from 3 over multiple years now. I mean, look, I saw him work out, and it's one of those things where like you see a kid where like all of the kinetic energy like flows in the right way.
I will go Jace Richardson. Obviously, I think for a lot of people, this is going to be a surprise that Jace has lasted to this point. My worry with him is he's small and one hand dominant, and I don't think he's a primary initiator. I think he's a secondary, second side shot maker, jump shooter, attack a closeout, those type of things. I think that's who he is. And I think then his skills really play well as in that role.
Interesting kind of strange player, like 6'8" or no, I think 6'7" is what he measured at without shoes. We have a measurement on him because he measured at the like Young Stars French game. So 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan, 8'9" standing reach, massive hands, 245 pounds now is what he came in at. Like this dude is a bear. He's a massive human.
He's the best player on my board. He's another guy though, that like I had much higher than this at one point. And listen, I don't think the Nets should take 4 first-round picks in this draft for what it's worth. So I don't like this for them. I, again, just think he's one of those guys that creates a ton of space. But he's, again, a strong left-hand driver. The right hand is a worry. But he does body, contact, bumps, balance.
I do think Will Riley is a questionable shooter. I wouldn't say he's like this guy is definitely going to make shots like full scale. It's inconsistent right now because the mechanics are truly all over the map.
I'm going to take Hugo Gonzalez here. He's the best player on my board. I have no idea what the Suns are actually going to do this offseason. Potential 2-way wing, emphasis on potential. If he can shoot it, I think he has the handle. Defensively, plays really hard. Like he does some interesting things with the ball in his hands on the offensive end.
I was hoping to end up like a little bit higher on Phylon than I did. I have him like, 25 to 30, like somewhere in that ballpark. Just kind of pulling up my notes now. Quick twitch athlete, like buzzy speed, like his feel for the game. I think he really processes things quickly around him. I liked him best on defense. I thought he made life really hard for opposing players. Guys that we did not draft here today, who is the highest rated player on your board?
So the names on my board would be, I like Maxime Renault, Janai Broom, Drake Powell, Pettiford, Cam Jones, Tyrese Proctor.